will be a part of the government. Then let me ask you something. No, but
Well,
hold on,
man.
I want to ask them something. If you are on Jamaica and you have a man like this where follow the figures and is a patriot in Jamaica, you wouldn't call him in for work? Tell me if you wouldn't want to use the talent of a Ralston man in a government. Tell me why. Because of the bias. Simple.
Yeah, and for his information, certain people ask me that over and over. Certain people who they might defend ask me that over and over. Remember, 36 years now, I remind him. So it maybe just start listening to them today. I did this for 36 years. Every finance minister has had to deal with me.
Including Omar Davis.
Yeah.
I'm going to just say to people, at this my respect for Ralston start. Because in a them time, them just a community thing. Me all one time they take Ralston I work for the opposition. Because the man, see him like how Ralston is talking now. And I tell you now all the while, go back and look at my program them from 1993 when we on Hard Topic. I see him where we talk when the government in power, when the party where we align to in power. That's how we talk, because our thing is about Jamaica. Our thing is not about PNP and GLP. So if PNP India now the right, expect Ralston Hyman and yours truly Colin Bell to say, we don't think this is right.
Correct. That's a Jamaica where I defend. And subsequent in a recent interview, when Omar was asked, he said, yo, a lot of the things that he said was right in retrospect when I look back. Yep.
But it's happening right now, Ralston. You are on radio calling it like when Michael Walden used to commentate cricket. Michael Walden could have watched Ambrose bowl. And Ambrose bowl a ball and him tell us, say, Ambrose has set up this man. And him tell us, say, you see the next ball, Ambrose are going to yak him. You see the next ball, Ambrose yak him.
Yeah, man.
That's how Ralston commentate. Ralston said the thing a decline. See it there. And if this continue, that's going to happen. Boom.
Yeah, man.
That happen.
Because we understand economic theory and we know how to build models and we have the figures.
I hear Adka Fitz-Henley in the Senate yesterday on a point of order to Lambert Brown that their government did not implement $32 billion of new taxes on the people to fund the 1.5.
Well, most we could have said about that is that poor fellow. That's all I can say about that.
But Ralston, you and Marlon Morgan admitted on this program that you told them that if they do it, it was going to cost them $32 billion.
Correct.
And here him excuse now. Him excuse is not the way how it happened, and also you say it did go happen, but it come to the same result. Because him say the IMF decide that them couldn't do it or them want to do it. So me said to him, but do you remember that Ralston was a part of the team who got the IMF deal? So they would have known why not the deal.
Of course.
No, I'm not think so.
And that is why we told the public that they must forget find the $32 billion in taxes, because based on the agreements that we have with the IMF, they must find back the money. That is how we get the indirect taxes, the taxes on consumption, the rest of them are collect the world for taxes, tax on gasoline and all of those things, the tax on electricity. That is how those things came about.
So you were a part. So to that person, Ralston was a part of the government at points. And I would want to say to you that I don't see a PNP administration. And this is not coming from the party now. This just come from me. I don't see a PNP administration operating without Ralston Hyman as one of the advisors. Remember, Ralston was an epoch, you know.
Yeah, man, I was a fundamental and foundation ranking member of the Economic Program Oversight Committee. We were the ones who negotiated the agreement, the toughest agreement, yeah?
Ralston, hold on. Because in that same interview with Mr. Morgan, him tell me say him no want to talk about between 2007 and 2012.
Yeah, man, I don't know why.
Him say him no want to talk about it, and I leave it. But Ralston, you, because the Prime Minister keep talking about the whole thing started under Bruce Golding. You were a part of the recovery. Give us a synopsis of what happened.
Well, I'm telling you. as I said, in 2007, the economy grew by 3% for the last time. The fiscal deficit was 5%. The net international reserves, 2.4 billion. Inflation was 5%. The debt to GDP was 115. So they got a solid economy from Omar Davies.
That's 2007 when the PNP lost to the GLP, led by Bruce Golding.
Yeah, man. All of them attack. Omar Davies left a sound foundation. Up comes the Great Recession. Them getting a power in September of 2007. The Great Recession started at the end of 2007. Audley Shaw, Ed Bartlett told the people of Jamaica that the recession would help them. When we told them to go to the IMF, Bruce Golding himself said going to the IMF is neither necessary nor appropriate. As a result, they stayed there and dilly-dally until the net international reserves fell to $1 billion. The fiscal deficit, difference between what the government spent and what it earned, was 7.75% of GDP. The overall public sector deficit was 10.75% of GDP. The current account deficit was 18% of GDP, and the debt was 147% of GDP.
Up from 115%.
Yep. When them go to the IMF, them take the wrong agreement. Them take an extended fund facility, a 27-month agreement, standby when you need an extended fund facility because it's completely misread.
Ralston, say that again.
Yeah.
They did what when they go to the IMF?
They took an standby arrangement rather than an extended fund facility. Them fired the only man who knew anything about IMF in that team, Central Bank Governor Derek Latibodiere, in November of 2009.
So in simple term, them go to the IMF and take a bad deal.
Yeah, because them fired the only man amongst them who knew anything about the IMF. Because Audley Shaw never knew about IMF. Dwight Nelson never knew nothing about IMF. My good friend Dan Webby never knew anything about IMF. Derek Latibodiere was the only man who knew anything about IMF. And Audley Shaw fired the man and said 2 bull can't roll in 1 pen.
And when they went to the IMF and they got the deal, continue from there, so for me.
Yeah, in February of 2010, them take a full agreement, a 27-month agreement. Man, them give them $2.4 billion up front. Yeah? And they never did anything that the IMF said them supposed to do. And as a result of that, we were locked out of the international capital markets.
So hold on there. When you go IMF loan, their loan have stipulation. Them tell you what you can do with their money.
Of course.
And how you must operate the economy so as to pay them back their money. You are saying that when the GLP took that loan, they could not, or they did not, or they have not done any of
they never did any of the things that they were supposed to do. And Gillian, who was the resident rep in Jamaica, Gillian was recently the president of the Caribbean Development Bank. When we used to ask Gene, I said, so Gene, welcome to the IMF agreement. Gene used to say, Ralston, these fellows can't give me anything sensible to take to the board.
So how then Prime Minister Andrew Holness is saying that this financial stability that we enjoyed for some time, because it's not stable anymore, was started under Bruce Golding? Tell me what stage. No. So you are at them can't do the IMF, them never do what the IMF said. Tell me more.
Yeah, man. And we were locked out of the international capital markets. Portia Simpson Miller had to go to people like Maxine Waters.
So hold on, no, that is after so up to when the GLP lost the election.
We never had an IMF agreement and we were locked out of the international capital market. The economy declined by 5%. 100,000 persons lost their jobs.
And debt to GDP was 147%.
Was 147. That's why Marlon don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
Right. So in comes a new PNP administration.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Phillips as Minister of Finance, Portia Simpson Miller as Prime Minister, Mark Golding as Justice Minister.
As Justice Minister.
What happened now? Because, all right, we don't have no IMF deal. We don't have no money. The net reserve was what? $1 billion, you say?
$1 billion, yeah.
$1 billion. That could have do about 6 weeks of supplies.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
Right. Talk, we know, because you now get involved. PNP, we know, so you get involved.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, I was between Portia and Peter, at Peter's right and Portia's left. Right? So Portia went to Maxine Waters, because everyone said that the truth.
Yeah.
And Maxine Waters and Portia got visit. Then time Christine Lagarde just became the managing director
of the IMF.
Yeah. She was opposed by Augustine Carstens, who was the Mexican Central Bank governor for the post.
Right.
So me said to Mama P, say, yo, link Christine Lagarde and say, as woman to woman, you need to help Jamaica. So she link Maxine Waters, another powerful woman of the US.
Yeah.
And then them link Christine Lagarde. That is on Christmas Eve.
So why would it need help? Why push off? You got called somebody. That's how countries operate.
Because the man them say them not deal with it again. Because you take with the IMF money.
Hold
IMF
on.
money.
So hold on. We say the man them expel we out of the IMF.
Yeah, man, lock we out of the international capital of the IMF. If IMF not lending the money, you can't get the money from World Bank or IDB or any other agency.
So hold on. You are saying that under the GLP administration led by Bruce Golding, later by Andrew Holness, Jamaica was expelled from the world financial market. Can't get the money to borrow over there.
Yeah, man. Now we'll get 5 consecutive downgrades from the same S&P and Moody's that the matter about.
5 consecutive downgrade.
Yeah, that's
under Bruce Golding, later Andrew Holness.
Yeah, man.
All right, continue. So Portia now got a beg with the Congresswoman there.
Yeah, Maxine. And them go check Christine Lagarde Christmas Eve and the man them say, all right, we'll help you out. But we're not going to go through the most punishing agreement that anybody ever get. Because we're like some bad man down there. So even Greece, who had a higher debt to GDP of 167%, their primary surplus was 3%, while ours was 7.5%.
So Greece, even owing more, get a better deal.
Yeah, man. Because the man ever said, I'm going like a bad man down there. Yeah. So I showing her and teaching her a lesson, right? And with them though, the mission chief was Jan Kees Martin. He's a man from the Netherlands. Yeah. The man never smile. Yeah, because he was the man who them said, yo, discipline them boy before I make them no sense to behave themselves. Right? So yeah, we got an agreement in May of 2013. So see how long it takes to get the agreement. While the man negotiate, Peter Farwalk the resignation every day. Andrew Willis and Ardlishaw and Favor Williams and Albin Hill. I said, sign. Yeah?
So all them must have signed. What authority them have? Or they were in opposition at the time.
And
they were worried about Jamaica not getting a deal. Yeah.
No, and they want to sign any deal. So we have to say no. Although I get a punishing thing, we have to negotiate the thing properly. Yeah. So we never get an agreement until May of 2013. And even then, nobody believes we'll be able to do it.
It took us more than a year to get an agreement from the IMF.
Yeah, man. Because the money myself, this is the program.
Because we were expelled from the IMF and the World Bank and the IDB. All of the international people, agency will lend money. We were expelled from them.
With money neither. Yeah. S&P downgraded us 5 consecutive times. Them and Moody's and Fitch.
Yeah.
I say, yo, them boy are going my bad man and this is the program. Yeah.
So continue.
So we got the agreement in May of 2013, and that is how EPOC was formed, because nobody never believed so could I do it based upon what them do. So the man myself, we have to form a committee to make sure we monitor the program. So where the JLP do and all the shot them don't happen again. That is how EPOC was formed. Economic Program Oversight
This
Committee.
Was a committee outside of the governing administration to oversee the operations of government.
Yeah, man.
If you say, yo, the people abandon belly, you have to do your part because the previous administration did not do what they were supposed to do. Hence, the bitter medicine that we were promised.
Yeah, man. I will not going down that road again. Correct.
All right.
So,
Ralston, hold on. I want to pause this because there's a question came in. And I want you to explain this. Somebody is saying that in the PNP administration, and I figure they are referring to that 18 years and more so by Omar Davis and PJ Patterson, that the government borrowed money at high interest rate. And therefore, we were running a riot.
But that is foolishness, because I'm saying to you, so even though you had that, the debt to GDP ratio was only 115% in 2007, and the economy was good by 3%. Would dare now try hard to get back to even 2%, much less 3%.
Right. So you were growing at 3% in 2007, borrowing at high interest rate. And let me remind some people, at that time we were not borrowing from the IMF. We did not have a borrowing. We did not have a borrowing arrangement with the IMF, because some people don't remember Ralston, that back in the day, the IMF was a different posture from what it is now.
Yeah, man. I was paid off the IMF in 1995. We never went back to the IMF until the JLP went back to the IMF.
So, and that time, what was that leaving the IMF? What was that meant to Jamaica at the time?
It meant that you had sovereignty over your macroeconomic policy, so you could pursue the policies that you wanted to pursue. And it turned out well because, as I said, that was the last time the economy grew by 3%. Inflation was only 5%, which inflation now is 5% now. Yeah? Inflation at that time was 5%. So we're getting back to where we were.
Ralston, that was the time, when we start building the highways in Jamaica,
Yeah, man.
Highway 2000, North Coast Highway. That was the time when hotels. Greater Portmore and those places were built,
Yeah, man, and all of those hotels, Rui and all of those
hotels, all the Spanish chain that came to Jamaica came in that period of time.
Correct, yeah, man.
So, there might be loans at high interest rate, but it was because at that time when you borrow the money, that you have full operation opportunity over it.
And the overall macroeconomic situation was better. That's the point I'm making here. So it's a foolish point that because the debt to GDP, you talk about higher rates, the debt to GDP was lower at that time than the 147%, which it reached.
They are saying, Ralston, they are saying that the debt to GDP is now about 70%, so it's much lower now.
No, but I'm comparing it with the period of 2012 when we got locked out of the market.
Right. Oh, we got it and where we brought it back to.
Yeah, man. I remember it was Phillips who brought it from 147 to 120.
When the GLP got it, it was 115.
Yeah. Right.
In 2016. Yeah.
Yep. And they never did much because one of the things that people must know is that in 2017, the definition of the debt was changed and the Bank of Jamaica debt was taken out. That caused the debt to fall to about 80%. You follow me?
Following your teacher. Following you. So somebody is saying that the IMF back in the day used to be operated by the United States and used to punish their political enemies, which...
Yeah, man, it was used as a political weapon and it is still operated by the United States. That's why when people ever talk the foolishness or they about Clark can get special deal for Jamaica, we tell them say foolishness. The man who control the IMF is the Undersecretary for International Foreign Affairs, a man named Jake Samba. Yeah? They tell the IMF what to do.
When to do.
And that, yep. So if you notice that the IMF sent Clark to Kenya, so how to come and to do things for Jamaica? Rubbish. If you notice, I'm not telling people that. Them send Clark to Kenya.
I don't understand now, Ralston. How is it that this government is going to recover from where we are, not admitting that there is a problem?
Yeah, man. If I were the new finance minister, my first presentation would be that we have to, the Prime Minister said it, pivot. Yeah? So if I was the finance minister, I would say, we're pivoting. It means that we have to fully spend the capital budget. I'd call upon the banks to reduce the interest rates to provide some stimulus to the economy because that's what the economy needs right now. Instead, they are going in the opposite direction. They are sucking more blood rather than providing more blood to the economy. So it's bad economic management. You can't recover if you do that.
Whoa.
So things are going to get much worse going forward.
And I'm still at the point, Ralston. I'm still at the point where the government is not admitting anything wrong.
Yeah, I know. But if you are in denial, all the problem is going to get worse.
That is why I'm on the point because that is my concern. This is Jamaica. And if the economy get worse, it will affect you, it will affect me, it will affect all of us. And if we have a government in place that fails to admit that there's a problem, then what makes it worse? They will not seek any solution.
Right, and that is what is happening. The Bank of Jamaica intervened in the foreign exchange market twice last week. First, they intervened with $40 million. The market wanted $85 million. That was the Friday. They came back the Monday with another $40 million. The market wanted $61.72 million. Then they had to come back on Wednesday with a fixed rate CD for $6.5 billion, and the dollar still closed at $157 and change. The foreign exchange market is under extreme pressure because we are not producing and generating any foreign exchange. And based on the mass deportation policies to be pursued by the Donald, it means that we are in deeper trouble because the remittance flows are not going to hold up.
So how we are going to move from this? So?
Precisely. And another point, the Donald says again that they will not be funding the World Health Organization. They're taking a look at all the international organizations that they are funding. So we have to reduce our dependence on the IMF, reduce our dependence on the World Bank, reduce our dependence on WHO. So we have to find ways to strengthen the economy, not weaken the economy. What the minister is doing is weakening the economy and reducing our ability to deal with the storms that are going to come from the policies that are being pursued by the Donald. They don't know what they're doing.
And then
they have no global perspective.
And then when do you expect the starting report on the fourth quarter?
We expect PIOJ to come out somewhere in the next week or two, and then starting maybe in the first week of February. Because starting goes out and actually measure, should it take longer than the PIOJ who does some forecasting.
So when the PIJ normally come forward with their numbers?
I'm saying that you might see it in another week or two.
I wonder if they're afraid for forward.
Well, we're watching them, and then starting will come like in the first week of February there.
TikTok morning to all my viewers, all my subscribers, all my followers. And if you